Across the galaxy, there are horrors ancient and new. Tyranids that devour worlds, Necrons that rise from beneath the soil, demons that tear through reality. But among those terrors, one enemy is eternal, not because they are unstoppable, but because they simply refuse to die. Today, we're deep diving into the Green Tide itself, the Orks of Warhammer 40,000. Their origins, their greatest leaders, the foes who stood against them, and one of the most brutal Imperial encounters ever recorded, the fall of a world as retold through the eyes of a single guardsman in the novel 15 Hours. To understand the Orks, you have to understand their creators. Long before the Imperium, before Eldar empires or Necron dynasties, the Old Ones engineered a warrior race that could withstand the horrors of the ancient war against the Necron tier. The result was a species that heals faster than it dies, multiplies faster than it's killed, and grows stronger the more that it fights. Unlike humans, orcs don't need hospitals, schools, or infrastructure. They grow from spores, sprouting in the dirt like weeds with muscles. Within days, an ecosystem appears. Squigs, grots, orc boys, everything a growing war needs. And it is war that they want. Always. The orcs have no grand strategy, no overarching philosophy. They fight because war is fun. They kill because killing is enjoyable. Their greatest joy is battle. And their greatest tragedy is peace. When fighting together, orcs call this a WAAAGH. Now, a WAAAGH is more than an army. It's momentum. It's psychic pressure. It's the unstoppable enthusiasm of millions of greenskins all wanting the same thing, a bigger fight. When enough orcs gather, their psychic field shapes reality. A gun painted red actually does fire faster. A vehicle welded together out of trash somehow works. And a warboss's orders become more than commands. They become destiny. It is this momentum that makes orcs so dangerous. They don't just invade, they roll over systems like a tidal wave. Even when they lose, the spores they shed during the battle ensure that the planet will face them again. The orc hierarchy is simple. The biggest orc is the boss. If you want to be in charge, you hit the current boss until he stops being a problem. It's government through fist. But beneath the violence, there is a structure. Weird boys, for example, channel dangerous psychic energy. Pain boys act as surgeons, often painfully, as the name suggests. And the mech boys, well, they're responsible for the eternal miracle of orc engineering. If it's loud, unstable, and dangerous to operate, a mech boy probably made it. And if it works, it's because 100 orcs standing nearby believe that it should work. When we look at orc history and orc culture, we have to look at some of the biggest influences upon their history. Some of those follow a rather simple structure, being the biggest orcs. Some follow no logical structure with traditional orc behaviours at all. Let's have a look at a few. Towering above other orcs, both physically and intellectually, stands Ghazghkull Thraka. A strategic genius wrapped in an iron-plated juggernaut, Ghazghkull is the closest thing the orcs have ever had to a truly visionary leader. His greatest adversary? A man named Commissar Yarrick, a man who has fought the orcs so long that even they respect him. A rarity. Ghazghkull and Yarrick's rivalry has shaped entire sectors. Worlds have burned beneath their battles, empires strained, legends formed. Where Ghazghkull goes, a WAAAGH follows, and where Yarrick stands, the Imperium refuses to break. Next up, we have the Pirate King of the Stars himself. Not all orcs want to conquer, some want to loot. Gold, shiny things, explosions that look cool. Enter Captain Badrukk, the flashiest freebooter in the galaxy. Badrukk's enemies are whoever has treasure. Rogue traders, Imperial convoys, Tau exploration fleets, Eldar craft worlds. If you have something valuable and poorly defended, Badrukk is coming for it with a smile. Next we have the Terror from Above. Boss Zagstruk leads the Storm Boys, orcs who idolize discipline and order, at least compared to other orcs. They descend from the sky with a mixture of precision and catastrophic explosive impact. His primary adversaries? Imperial Guard regiments unlucky enough to face an airborne orc assault. Even elite units like the Elysian drop troops treat Zagstruk's arrival as a death omen. Finally, we have the Red Shadow himself. Deep in the jungles of Armageddon lurks Snikrot, the silent killer. Unlike most orcs, Snikrot uses stealth, a terrifying concept when applied to an 8-foot tall monster with knives the size of machetes. His enemies are the Catachan Jungle Fighters, famed for being the hardest humans alive, and even they tell stories of Snikrot as if he's a ghost, a nightmare that slips through fog and foliage. To understand the horror of fighting orcs, look no further than one Imperial Guardsman's final day, the story told in the book 15 Hours. A tale not of heroes or victories, but of the average soldier thrown into the grinder. A young conscript, barely trained, is shipped into the front lines of an orc assault. He expects parades, banners, maybe even a noble purpose. And what he gets instead is a shuttle full of terrified men all whispering about the same thing. Green bodies in the mist, roars like engines, and the sky itself shaking. His regiment lands at dawn. The moment the hatch door opens, the world is fire. Artillery screams, the ground explodes, orc shells whistle overhead and crash down randomly. The greenskins don't aim. They simply fire until something dies. In the smoke, the rookie finally sees them. Massive shapes charging through the dust, roaring with joy. The orcs don't advance cautiously, they run headlong into battle because they can't imagine any other way. The Imperial line breaks. Veterans fall. Officers disappear in sprays of dirt. The rookie runs, stumbling over corpses, hearing the thunder of boots behind him. He sees an orc up close, its eyes bright with excitement, its teeth bared in a smile. Not hatred, not malice, pure, unfiltered joy. Because this is what orcs live for. This moment, the fight. In 15 Hours, the tragedy is that the rookie never stood a chance. Not because he was weak, but because the orcs were relentless. The planet was doomed long before his transport ever left the ship. This is the true face of the Green Tide. Not just overwhelming numbers, but unstoppable enthusiasm. So why can the orcs never be defeated? Well, armies can be annihilated, fleets can be destroyed, but the orcs, they're a force of nature, a psychological, biological, and cultural storm. Every battlefield seeds the next generation, every victory brings more warriors, and every warboss dreams of uniting all orcs into one all-consuming war that would drown the galaxy in green. The orcs are unstoppable not because they're the strongest, but because they're the happiest while killing you. They laugh in battle, they cheer under fire, they paint their weapons bright colours because it looks fun. In a galaxy defined by despair, the orcs are the only ones truly enjoying themselves. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button harder than a knob cracking a grot, subscribe for more lore, and comment on which faction we should talk about next. And remember, if you hear the words WAAAGH, don't bother running. Just pray that a Space Marine stands on the same battlefield as you.